My name is Jim Caseman, and talking about my life story along with Kathleen's here somewhere along the line. She's got some tapes they're going to play that she made before she died. And I'm talking about my suicide attempt and things like this. And again, I believe that somebody will play this and say, whoa, and they might be thinking suicide, and that already happened in another church. But they'll say, hey, if Jim Caseman can get born again and change his life and still end up in the ministry for over 49 years, then there's hope for me. And so that's what we're doing. Now, we left off talking about the fact that they transferred me to the Bismarck, St. Alexis Hospital in Bismarck, North Dakota, and that I didn't regain consciousness till Wednesday. Now, I did reach over into the whatever table next to me with a drawer, and there was a Gideon Bible, and I pulled it out, and I just read a couple pages, and I couldn't get past the these and the thous, the old King James, I guess. And so I threw the Bible back in the drawer and never tried to read it again. And then the next thing, like I mentioned in the last session, I saw Kathleen, this nurse, walk through the door. And I said, my God, I never saw anybody that beautiful in my hometown. Didn't think I'd ever have a chance with her. And of course, I did show her a picture of myself. She said, you know this man? She says, no. And that's because how bad my face was messed up. But she did tell me then later, Kathleen did, that she was in the Bismarck Hospital, and then a friend of hers found out about that and said, why don't you come over to St. Alexis Hospital where I'm working? So she resigned from the Bismarck Hospital, came over to St. Alexis just like a few weeks before I got there. And she said when she come on duty that particular night, on Monday night when I was transferred there, her instructions were go back to room, I guess, 320 or something like that, and suction the blood out of the man's throat until he dies. Well, she didn't look at the chart too close. She just thought I was a really old man, and came back the second night, and I was still alive, and she had the same instructions. This time she looked a little closer to the charts and realized I was only 21 years old. And so then I spent a month there in that hospital. I learned a few things about Kathleen, and but like I said, I didn't think I'd ever have a relationship with her, but I did find out that she had a baby girl that was about a year old. And so as I was about to be transferred to Wishick, I did ask if I could meet her daughter. And she did bring the daughter down to the lobby downstairs as I was leaving the hospital, going my way to the Wishick Hospital for another month. And so that's the first time I met Desi. Well, anyway, I'm now in the Wishick Hospital. And I figured, well, I wrote a note to Kathleen. So I sent it, Kathleen Caseman, St. Alexis Hospital, 3rd floor. That's all I had. Okay. But you know, she answered the letter. And I figured, okay, I might have a chance. And so then I was released from the Wishick Hospital on April 9th. I did not have a car. That was in pieces. So then I found out then that Uncle Leopold was going to Bismarck, and I caught a ride with him. And this is at the middle of April. Got to Bismarck, called Kathleen, got a date at the middle of April, April 15th, my first date with Kathleen. And of course, we got married then 4.5 months later, June 27th. We really clicked. And of course, people on both her side and my side trying to talk us out of the marriage because they knew I had a lot of problems. They knew she had a lot of problems. But who's going to talk us out of getting married when we're 21 years old? I mean, it's not like we just got out of high school. And so then we got married June 27th. We moved out onto the farm, my dad's farm, and we moved into, there's a porch, enclosed porch with screens and everything. But in the wintertime, it's not heated. It's cold out there. But it had windows and screens. And so we lived in that porch that summer. Kathleen and I did. And my wife, Kathleen, was in for a shock because her home, it was more quiet, and there was more intimacy in their family. In my family, it was a lot of shouting and screaming at every time we got to the table to eat. We were shouting at each other. And Dad always never had anything good to say about us, no matter how hard we worked. And I loved working. He'd take credit for it if we had company. My brother and I built 10,000 bales of hay in one giant haystack. And somebody drove into the yard that he knew, and they were visiting, and I happened to walk by. And here he was taking credit for that bale stack. I figured, come on. You showed up and lifted one bale off there just to make himself feel like he did something. I don't know. And so that's the way it was. Complain about everything. And never had a relationship with Dad. Never went hunting, fishing, or anything like that. It was just work. And so that lasted for a summer. Kathleen couldn't believe our family. It was terrible. And so we ended up moving back to Bismarck. Well, apparently I then, back to Bismarck, let's see. Yeah, and then I went back to selling insurance. Again, I don't even remember who it was with, but it certainly was not with Lutheran Brotherhood. All right, and so then now we're married. I want to say that Kathleen went back and worked for just a little bit as a nurse. But anyway, she did get pregnant and she had a miscarriage. And then we got involved in marriage counseling. And this is now a fast forward. We made it to 1967, so now that's 3 years of marriage in the insurance business. And we attended the Lutheran Church in Minot. We got involved in marriage counseling. And but my drinking is crazy. I remember I was drunk coming home. I stopped at this tavern, and you know where they have the bar stools where they sit up there and all of that. I walked into that tavern. I can't believe I did it. I went up, and here's this man sitting on the bar stool, and I did a John Wayne thing. You know, I brought my fist in, and bam! He flew off that chair and hit the floor, and I walked out of the tavern and went home. Oh, I could have gone to jail for that, but nobody knew who I was. Just walked in, walked out, and gone. And that's crazy, really crazy. And so anyway, we're marriage counseling. So on November 1st, I had an appointment with the pastor for counseling on the last day of October. So it must have been October 31st. Or no, yeah, let's see. I called him up. Yeah. But anyway, I called him up on November 1st. And, whoa, I see my time is up again here. I've been trying to get my thoughts together. Okay, we'll pick it up in the next session with this pastor that we were having some marriage counseling with. All right, praise the Lord.